Yeah, so today we are going to continue on the stage process itself. Like yesterday, we saw how to load data from landing to a stage table, and we are going to learn more about the stage layer itself. So today we will see like what are the different options available on the stage layer. Basically, as we know that once we move data from source to target in any ETL tool or anywhere, so we get the option for the CDC, like change data capture or for the data detection, right? So here also we have such option, landing table. Suppose here we have, and in the target we have a stage table. So yesterday we had created the mapping, and with the help of mapping, we had loaded the data from a landing table to a stage table. Now today we will see two options, that is called, one is called delta detection. So delta detection is nothing but it will identify the, how to identify the delta record, how to identify delta from source and load it to target, load to a stage. Okay. Delta means suppose today we received 1000 record, tomorrow we received 1200. So tomorrow we will not load 1200, we will only load the 200, which is the new record. Day after tomorrow we receive suppose 1500. So just we will load 1500 minus 1200, 300 record only. So how to identify like which is the change record, so that we can only load that record only change record only, right? So that part we are going to see in delta detection. And second, we have option of audit trial. So audit trial, so this will help for the kind of history load, history load for a stage. What meaning of this? So suppose you want to keep the backup, as we know by default, a stage table is truncate load. Okay, a stage table is always truncate load. Just we have to remember it. A stage table is always truncate load. We cannot control it. This is defined by Informatica. Always truncate load. Okay. So once we run the stage job, like yesterday we run, so we saw that the data was moving from landing to a staging, and in a stage table was always truncated. But this is a means Informatica defined kind of methodology. Okay, we cannot control it. So in some cases, suppose if we want to keep the history data of the stage, then how we can achieve this? So for that, Informatica has given us one option of called audit trial. Okay. So suppose we want to keep the history of last 100 days, or history of last 1 year, or last 1 month. So we can also configure it. And if we want to keep the history of uh, job executed, last 5 job executed, last 10 job executed, like that, that also we can do. So these two part we are going to focus today. This is very important for project also, and this is very important for our interview questions also. So these are very conceptual concept. Okay, so let's try to understand it. So let's first focus on delta detection. So as we know that in ETL tools or anywhere where we do the data loading, we have the concept of change data capture or delta detection. So with the help of that methodology, we identify the change data from source. We don't load all the data from source every time. In place of that, we just load the change data. So this will speed up our performance, and this will means optimize our job also. In place of loading millions of records, if we have suppose thousands of records which are delta for 1 day, so we will only load that thousands of records. We will not load the millions of record every time. Okay. So let's try to see how we can achieve this delta detection. So for that, we need to come to a schema, and these two options are available on the stage table itself. Okay. So we are going to see. So if two options are available on a stage table, then where is that option? So for that, we need to come to a stage table. For coming to a stage table, we need to come with subject first, and then we need to come here a staging table, like yesterday we created, right? So let's see the stage table for CRM. And here we can see, let's open the stage table first. You just click on a stage table. So if we click on a stage table, let's come in setting. Okay. So in setting here, we can see two options. In every stage table, you will get this setting. Okay. So we have let's focus on enable delta detection. So see here we have option detect. Let's take the right lock so that we can change it. And now again click on staging tables, CRM. So once you click on this enable delta detection, then it will ask which option you want to choose for identifying the delta. So first option is saying detects delta by comparing all columns in mapping. So suppose you have 10 columns which are coming from landing table. So it will compare all the columns, and if we see that there is some change in the data, then the delta will be identified. Suppose we have a column customer ID, customer name, customer address. So if there is a change in these three columns, then delta will be identified. If suppose only change in customer ID and customer name, but address is still same, then this will understand record is same. It will not identify delta in this option. Okay. So if you want to configure that customer ID and customer name is got changed, then that record should be treated as a new record, and that should be a part of the delta. So how we can achieve it? Because in first option, it will take all columns. Okay. So these all options have been given for handling the different business scenario. So as per our different requirements, we will choose these different options. Okay. So second option, what is saying detects delta through a date column. So suppose you want to identify delta on basis of some creation date or last update date or date delete date, then also we can do. Like suppose you want to identify delta only on the basis of last update date. When the last update date of the record is changing, then we understand that this is the delta record. This is a new record. If the last update date of the record is same, that means we treat that this record is same. This record not changed. So in that scenario, we can use this option. We can take any date column from source from this drop down, and we can configure it. Third option detects delta using a specific columns. So here suppose in this example we have customer ID, customer name, and customer address, right? And suppose you want to identify delta only if the customer ID is changing or customer name is changing, but the customer address is same. So out of three columns, if two column is changing, you want to identify delta. So we can achieve that with the help of this option. Okay. So here you can see whatever column we had created in landing table, those all columns are coming. So if you want to add customer ID and customer name, and you want to see that if these two are changing, then delta should be the record should be treated as a new record. So we can configure number of columns, whatever we want to identify delta. In this option, we can select that. Okay.
So out of these two, it should treat them as a and or means both changes or if anyone changes.
Yeah, both changes. If we are selecting these two, then both should change. Okay.
And if only customer ID changes, in that case, it will not treat
Not
that
treat.
as a
It will
delta.
not treat. Okay, na? So
Okay.
suppose if you are taking address, so in this case, means these three should change.
Okay.
Just a minute, just a minute. Let me take it for example. Let's open the Excel. In Excel, we will take some example. Let's take customer ID and customer name and then customer address. Sorry. Customer ID, let's take 100 first time, and name is suppose Ravi, and address is suppose Delhi, and second record we have 200, and name is suppose Shiva, and address is suppose Chennai. So in first load it will load all. Okay, whatever record we have, this will load all record here. Because in target we don't have any record in a stage, so it will load all record. In second load, let's take we have record customer ID 100, and name is Ravi, and this one is Bangalore. Okay, so this is your second load. So in second load, Suppose we have configured delta on all column, all three column. Okay. So what it will do, it will compare these three columns. So 100 is already there, Ravi is also there, but Bangalore got changed. So this will understand that this is a new record. So this will be loaded in next run if we have configured on 3. Okay. So if you have configured delta on the basis of 3, this will load. So this second run the record will become 3. But suppose in example we have configured only for these 2. Okay. So what it will do? It will just compare first the customer ID is there, and customer name Ravi is also there. So it will understand this is a existing record. So it will not identify in delta. And like you told, for example, suppose here I have taken 500, and here I have taken Ravi, and same address is Bangalore. Okay. So here first it will identify 500 is available or not available, not available. So it will blindly load that. Okay, now it will understand this is a new record. If we have taken delta on the basis of these two, so first it will check first column, customer ID. 500 customer ID available? No. So it will not check this, it will directly load this one. Okay. So if we have two columns, suppose in some case we have 100, but in place of Ravi, suppose we have RABI record, Ravi, and here still address is same. So if you have configured delta on these two, then ideally this will be loaded because 100 is available, that is fine, but RABI is not available or VI is available. So it will understand this is a change record. So this record will also be loaded. Okay. So for understanding such kind of thing, better to take some example in Excel and table, then it will be clear. Let's take some example. Let's do some practical. Okay. So we understood this. Now let's take only two, customer ID and customer name. Okay. And let's first create few record in landing table for source. For which source we should create? Let's see some test data in landing table, and then we will create more test data to understand it. So for this, we have to keep in mind whatever things is happening, like whatever data, these all data is getting loaded here. So where this data will store, right? Because I told that a stage table is always truncate load. So in a stage, we cannot expect the data from second run, third run, because it will always truncate and load, right? So where this data will store? So Informatica MDM have created some child tables, and for this purpose, the child table name is raw table. I will show it now once this database is up. So we will see there is a raw table for every stage table. A stage table underscore raw. It will be created by default. Okay. So this all historical data, whatever configuration we will do here. No, sorry, not historical. This is we are not talking for historical, not talking for audit trail. We are talking for delta, right? So in case of delta, there is a table called PRL. Okay. So for delta here, PRL table will come in picture. PRL table. So for delta detection, always keep in mind that PRL table will come in picture, and for audit trail, we have the raw table. So this raw table will help for the historical loading, like it will keep historical data. And for delta detection, there will be a PRL table which will help to identify delta record. We will see it. Let's open the training database. So allow a staging if a clear duplicates were rejected. So this option, suppose if some record got rejected, yesterday we saw, right? So yesterday some reject was rejecting due to a null value or due to some restriction. So if we will check it, so what it will do, whatever record will be stored in the reject table, that will again be loaded in the stage table, from reject table to a stage table. So this option we have to save, right? So let's save it. Yeah, and here let's come in table. And let's come to a stage table. First in landing table, let's see what data we have. CL cast TNP. Okay, let's come to data. So for EDW source, suppose we have these two record, okay? So for better understanding, let's configure stage delta detection on this EDW stage table, okay? So for EDW, we have to come EDW and here you have to enable it. And whatever column you want to configure, just add it, customer ID, customer name, then save it. This got saved. Now we can come to a stage table for the EDW. Where is the stage table? This is a stage table, okay? Let's see, we have some data note. We have some data. So as we know that this data will be truncated. You can see the last update date, it is 30 December and 14 November something. So once we will run the job, it will truncate load it. It will truncate load. Maybe for easy understanding, I should not delete from here, it will by default truncate, okay? So here I told, yesterday we saw some record was rejecting, okay? So those record which will reject at a stage layer, that will be stored here. So for this, I think there was no rejection. We had the rejection for this, for CRM, na? Here you can see that there should be null or future occur in future, then it will reject. If the last updated is future date or null, then it will reject. So this error message yesterday we got, right? So those rejected record will be stored in the REJ table. So for every stage table, we will have this child table, REJ, reject table. And same like that, we will have the PRL table, which will help for the delta detection, and we will have raw table, which will help for the history, historical data load. Okay. So let's, in PRL, we don't have anything because just now we have configured this delta detection. So now we can run the stage job and we can see if something we are getting in PRL or not. So let's come to EDW stage this and run it. Running. Why it got failed? Data access exception. What is this error? This clean data access exception. SIP1032 delta detection fails. Okay. Actually, this sometime we get due to the application issue. Let me rerun it one more time, then you will see. Again, it got failed. See, this time we got something different error. Detection. Let's see that we have some data here or not. See, here we got the data, but it got failed. Why? So data was loaded. This we had Ravi and Shiva, Chennai and Bangalore, right, for the EDW source. So we got these two data in PRL. Let's see the data in the stage table. So why the data in the stage table got rejected? Thanks. Yes. Cannot find any data in cast. Okay, but here why it is got getting failed? Let me see it. A serious error occurred while trying to perform distributed data cleanse. Error data access expense data detection fails. Unable to execute the SQL alter table is test ERA modify all identity not null. Column 2 modify must be empty to decrease precision or scale. Okay, so in PRL we have one column online indicator. Okay, so this should not be null. Here you can see in PRL there is one column online indicator, it should not be null. So let's see in the mapping that if we can populate this online indicator column. Let's go to mapping. EDW cast diagram. Do we have online indicator column here? Have a state address, customer ID. Here we don't have, so online indicator. Here we don't have that column, so we cannot handle it. So what we will do, batch viewer. Earlier it failed to, earlier it was also failing with the same error. Failed running clean this. A serious error occurred while trying to perform distributed data clean error, delta didn't read data interface. Type this data detection. Serious error occurred. Here we have one column online indicator. Where is that here? So online indicator already got populated 0, 0, right? By default it is taking 0, then why it is failing? It should not fail. Let me run one more time. 938. Unable to execute SQL this. What is happening? Let me look into this assist. Why it is coming? Usually should not come. Earlier it was not coming. Serious record this. Let's do one thing. Let's do the same thing for CRM stage table. So we have not configured anything. So just I am running it so that we will not get any errors. See, here also we are getting some error. That means, acha. So here also we have configured delta detection, right? So what I will do, for CRM, I will disable the delta detection. Disabling it, then I'm trying to run it. CRM batch viewer, execute batch. So now we go to one record. Same like that, let me disable the delta detection here. Let's run it without data detection. So this one also got loaded. Let's see data here. In a stage table, we will have two data. URL already we had two data earlier. Raw table will not have, reject table will not have. Okay. Now let's try to enable delta on this three. Come to this and enable delta on all the columns. Let's see how this is working. Delta detection, this one is failing. Failed running clean share this, this data detection page. Yeah. Result table this modify online indicator not null. What is the making clear to all indicator not null? Okay, so this should be empty. So let's do one thing. Let's truncate this table. Truncate this table. This got truncated. Now let's try to run it. This got altered. Now let's try to run it. Then it is failing. Here in data, if you go auto field here.
Can you try truncating that and then running the batch once?
Yeah, I already truncated. Acha, you were saying this one truncate, na?
Hmm.
Okay, let me truncate it. So this got truncated, so we don't have any data here, right?
Hmm.
So let's run it. Then this is failing. This is due to some problem. It's a see same thing. Actually, what is happening? It is first loading data in the PRL, then it is trying to do alter. So this will never be possible, right? If you see here, data got loaded in PRL table. Here, data got loaded, and after loading the data, it is trying to change this indicator. So this will not be possible. I think there is some product bug for this. I will raise this to Informatica because this is earlier we were not getting this. First, it is loading data. Ideally, it should run this first, and then it should load data, right, in the backend. And this SQL and all we cannot control by ourselves. This is a means defined SQL within the MDM. We cannot do anything. So it is first loading data. Here we can see data got loaded in the PRL, and then it is running this alter. So this alter will never work, right? This alter will never work. So what we can do, if it is possible to drop the online indicator. So if you will drop again in backend, it will fire this, right? So in backend, if again it will fire it, then again it will be a problem. So I will look into this with Informatica, like if they have some hotfix or something for this or not, and I will get back to you. Ideally, this should not behave like this. First alter should run, then data load should happen. See here, if we are truncating also, if we are truncating here, and if we are running the same SQL, this is working fine here. You can see, right? Table got altered, right? So here this is working fine, but here what is happening in the batch is first loading data, then it is doing like that. This is the problem. You should not do like that. So for this SIP, I will get more information. I will share with you. This data detection. Do we have any other option so that we can avoid it? I'm thinking that shall we drop this online indicator column? But again, if you will drop, then backend it will fire this, right? So if you fire, it will not able to find. Then again, it will fail. So what could be other thing? And the data load we cannot control by ourselves because from here we are truncating, and after truncating also here we don't have any data here. And now if we are trying to run, let me truncate data here also. Maybe due to that also it can create a problem. Delete data in a stage table also for first time. So we don't have data in a stage, we don't have data in PRL. Okay. Now let's run it. Again it got failed. So it is nothing to bother about that. It's a different error. If we see we are getting data in PRL here, and we will not have any data in a stage. See a stage also we got data. So that is something a stupid error which we are not supposed to get. And I think I need to restart the server. Then maybe we will not get it. See here, all thing is happening in backend properly. We got data in a stage, and even we got data in PRL also, right? But again, it is batch is failing here due to this error. So let's ignore this for time being because all function is happening properly in backend, but in the last it is trying to do this, and due to that it is failing. So we can ignore for time being. Now let's try to understand this concept for delta detection. So now we have these two data. We have this 200 Ravi Chennai. Okay, now we have configured delta on what condition? For EDW cust, we have configured on the basis of all column. Okay, so this we can change because we thought it is coming to a different thing. That's why we change. We change it. Let's take the same example: customer ID, customer name. Okay, I'm saving this. Let's create one more test data here. Let's come to landing table, CL cust. And for EDW source, we will create one more test data. Okay. So here let's take,
How it will how it will know in backend that this is the first time run or second time run?
yeah, for first time run, it will see now there is no data in PRL. Sorry. In PRL, we saw here. So if this is a first time run, then there will not be any data in PRL. It will be blank. Okay. And after first time run, we will have data in PRL also, and we will have data in the stage table also. So in second run, what it will do, it will compare data from PRL. Okay, and it will understand that this data is already there in system or not. So this PRL will help for the lookup table kind of. Okay, so
Okay, if we are deleting data from the PRL, then it will treat that as a first run.
right. So suppose in backend you deleted data from PRL forcefully. So those all record will be treated as a new because it compares from the PRL table itself. It will not compare from a stage table. Okay, it will
Mhm.
do lookup in PRL, and on the basis of your configuration, on this configuration, it will identify delta. So here, suppose we are doing delta on the basis of customer ID and customer name. Let's take some data in landing table. So suppose customer ID we are taking same 200, and for Ravi, let's take RAVI. Just we change the name, and let's take this also same, and source system also same. Let's save it. So yeah, in this time, this record, we have configured delta on the basis of customer ID and customer name. So it will first compare the customer ID, this 300. Where is that? Just a minute. Let me EDW. So for Ravi, customer ID is same. It's okay. Now it will come to name. It will find difference. So this record should be loaded this time. Okay. Let's see. So this is already saved. Now come to batch viewer. Now come to a stage process. Then let's run it. This one we have. So here we are getting this stupid error. Maybe there would be some hotfix for this. I need to apply. So let's go in backend, and let's yeah. Now let's come to a stage table first. So this is our stage table. See, so in a stage table we have only one record. Why? But customer name. Why this is Ravi? Let's see the PRL table. Uh, this record we had created just now, right? RABI. So
Yes.
this record should insert in our stage table, right? RABI. Then why this one is coming? This should not come RABI because this was already there. Something problem is happening in this delta detection. because this RABI we created new record, and this we can also see in the here we got record in the PRL. So it compared this record and it got this record new. So this record we got here in PRL. So if you got this record in PRL, so you should insert this record here. So something wrong is happening, it's not working properly. I think due to this error. So tomorrow maybe I'll fix it up today. I will see if any hotfix or something is available in the application software, and I'll try to fix it today. And I will explain it further tomorrow. Okay, na? Ideally, it should not behave like that. Let's take one more example for time being. So let's come to database, and in landing, we'll first for EDW, suppose I'm taking one more record. Now, and here suppose earlier we had Siva, right? Now let's take 500, and this all is same, suppose. Okay, now let's save it. So for EDW for 500, this value got changed. So we should get this record in our stage table if it is working properly as per logic. We should get this record in a stage table this time, because this 3 record is already there in PRL. So let's run it. Let's come to a stage table. In a stage, we got one record. See, this time we got correct record 501, right? Because this is the new record which we had inserted in our landing table. So this time it is working fine. So although Bangalore address is same, name is same, but this got changed, and we have configured delta on the basis of these two. So this got loaded. So this is working fine. Now if you come in PRL, you will see this 500 also we got here. Okay. So in PRL, it will always keep a copy so that next time it will compare. And suppose in future you want to complete refresh the stage table. So in that case, what we will do, we will just truncate this PRL table. And if you truncate, it will not find any data in PRL. So it will load all data blindly in the stage table. Okay. And on the daily run, on the incremental run, just we will keep this configuration so that it will only load the delta record in the stage table. Okay, so this is about data dissection. Hope you got the concept. So concept is similar like other ETL tool as well. So number of columns or list of columns or the date columns, whatever we have, we can configure. And on the basis of that, it can identify delta, and it will load that record only in the stage table. It will not load all the record. So this here delta detection where PRL table will come in picture. And this part I will fix it today, and I will let you know in tomorrow class why it is coming. Now let's come to this second part, audit trail, history load for the stage table. So for that, let's come to a stage table in the schema. And here let's disable it, this we did. Now click on preserve audit trail. So here it is asking, you want to keep history on the basis of number of loads, or do you want to keep history on the time duration? Like if you want to keep history for the last 1 year, last 1 month, last 5 months, something like that, you can configure it. You can just put here 1 year, you can put here 2, 3. So it will just keep the history of the last 3 record. If you don't want to maintain history on the basis of timestamp, you just want to maintain the history of last 2 load. You want that only last 2 load data should be stored in the in my history table. Then in that case, it will only keep the last 2 load data. So suppose you did first run, it, that data will be there. Second run, that data will be there. In third run, what will happen? First run data will be deleted, and we will only have second and third. In fourth run, what will happen? We will only have data of the fourth and third. Other data will be deleted. So it will just keep the history of the latest 2 runs. Okay. So here, if you are configuring latest 5 run, so it will behave like that. Latest 10 run, it will behave like that. Okay. So for example, let's keep here 2 load and save it. And let's check that in raw table. So for that, raw table will help us. So this all history data will be stored in the respective raw table of the stage table. Okay. So here we can see in raw table we don't have any data, right? And let me truncate the data from a stage table also. I think a stage table will be automatically truncated, so no need to truncate it. We'll have to truncate it. So we have four data in PRL. Let's come in PRL. We had how many data? This four data, right? Four data. Now let's run it. So this time we have disabled the delta detection, right? So we should get all data in a stage table here, right? So let's run it. EDW. Okay, delta detection already disabled. This is saved. Now let's come to batch viewer. A stage process, execute batch. Some data got rejected. Let's see what happened. So we had three data and inserted three and one got rejected. Let's see the view reject region. So here it is saying duplicate landing record. And which is duplicate landing record? So customer ID 200 and Ravi. Why this is coming? So now Ashish, you tell me why this error is coming. Means I should understand like are you getting logic or not? You see, we are getting this record is getting rejected and you have also error message. Duplicate landing record. Okay. Now you tell me why we are getting this.
Can you open the landing table?
Yeah. Sure. So in landing table, here cast, and for EDW you have this record. And here you have error message. The 200 Rabi RABI is rejecting. Why?
Cust ID is a primary key.
Yeah, right. Very good. Now we got the concept, right? So cust ID we have made the primary key, right? In the mapping. Cust ID here if we come. So here we have made cust ID as a primary key in the mapping that is PKSRC object, and if cust ID is duplicate, then it will not load the duplicate data. So it loaded this Ravi, 200 Ravi, but second 200 Ravi not loaded because it was duplicating this 200, right? So it got rejected. Understood now? So if you want to handle such scenario, okay, so how we can do that? So we have to change the logic of populating our PKSRC object, right? Currently we are passing the customer ID straightforward one-to-one, and suppose we are getting data like that, and this data is getting rejected. So we understood the reason why it's getting rejected. Now we have to handle it. So what we can do, in place of passing customer ID, if we can concatenate this customer ID and customer name, and then we can pass, then we can uh, get rid of such a issue, right? Now it will compare combinedly this 200 Rabi and 200 RABI. So it will be different, right? So in that case, it will be inserted. So this example we will do. Let's first focus on this historical load, that is raw table. So now let's come to a stage table. So this is our stage table. So in a stage table, we got these three record. One record got rejected. That is fine. We understood. And if you come in reject table, you can find that duplicate landing record. That 200 Ravi, we got rejected. Okay. And now let's come to raw table. So in raw table, how many record we have? Give me that. Here row ID job, it is a row ID job will be unique for every job execution. Okay. So here is the first run, and here how this PKSRC object got duplicate here. Here again this 200 Ravi should not come in raw table because this got rejected and that is available in the reject table, right? So it should not, okay. This raw table now, what it will do, it will copy all the data from landing to raw table, whatever it is coming. It will not mind that this got rejected or this got loaded or not loaded. So whatever data it will be read out from the source, from the landing, just it will copy here. For example, let's insert more data in the landing for testing. This time let's do the second run. So in second run, this will change. So let's come to CL cast, and here let me create one more data. So here let's create 600. Here create RAM and Chennai EDW, something like that. So let's save it. Okay, here we need to pass some value. Now, okay. Now let's run this second run. So come to batch viewer. Here execute batch. So here we saw that we had 4 records, one got inserted, that is fine. This duplicate we can understand, this 200. And now we have to come to the raw table. When we have to see raw table, what entry we had. So in raw table, this time we have entry of all the record from the last 2 runs. So here let's see, we should have two value. Why it is giving the same value? Is it same or okay, something different, right? Not same. Let's sort it. So okay, this was first run. Here you can see it's a D, ending with a D, right? So this was first job run, and this is the second job run. So in second job run, we got this record. That means RAM also we got here. See RAM. Now let's do the third run. So in third run, this one should go out. Go out. SD job ID record should go out, right? So let's do that so that we can understand it is storing the last 2 run history. For that, let's come to CL cast and let's add one more record. Here let's take 700. Let's take Naveen, Delhi, and source EDW. Let's save it. So this time, this is our delta record, right? This is our new record. So let's run it and let's see batch viewer here. And we have to see the content in our raw table. Okay, one record got rejected, we can understand. And now let's come to raw table. So see here, let me sort it. It's already sorted, right? SF and H. So here we have two job ID and SD job ID, which was previously there, that got deleted because it is only keeping the history of the last 2 job execution. Here we got new record that is Naveen. So in this job execution, Naveen also came. So in this case, whatever data we will have in landing table, just it will copy in the raw table just for backup. That's it. It will not mind that the data got rejected or not rejected. Whatever content it will be read out from the source as per the condition given in the mapping, like in where condition, those all will be copied here. Like we have data for the CRM source also, but that will not be loaded here because those are getting filtered in our mapping. Okay. So whatever data will qualify as per our mapping, that all will be loaded in the raw table, and that will be kept as a history data. Okay. Like that, if you run for fourth run, then you will see this data will be deleted automatically, and this data and the new run data will be stored here in raw table. So this is a concept of a PRL table, which will help for data detection, raw table, which will help for the audit trial and the historical loading, and reject table. This will basically help keep the rejected data. So if you have any doubt on the concept of this, you can ask any question, Ashish. This just failure, you ignore it. I will fix it. That's due to some product issue. But on the concept level, if you have any doubt, you can ask.
Customer ID is the primary key while loading that in the stage table. Suppose we have two customer IDs like we have. So in that case, one record is getting loaded and one record is getting rejected.
Right,
So this is based on the what means which record is getting rejected. The first one is coming, that is that it is loading, and the after that it is rejecting. Is it
right,
this?
right, correct, correct. So whatever data will be available in the sequence, Accordingly, that will be loaded, and the upcoming data which is next to the previous data, that will be rejected. The same thing is happening.
Hmm.
Yeah, you are correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, like suppose so this part I want to take one dedicated class for this mapping. So I told that we will have many clinch function here if you come here. So we will have many clinch functions. So we will have one dedicated class tomorrow. So tomorrow we are going to only focus on the clinch function. So on a stage layer, these two was very important, which we learned today, like audit trail, delta detection. Also, yesterday we discussed how to create a stage table, how to load it, right? So this all the basic part we have done in a stage table. So in a stage layer, this mapping, complex mapping, and the clinch functions available. This part is also very important. So tomorrow we are going to see, and we are going to create some complex mapping so that we can utilize most of the functions available in the MDM. So that's it for today. I'm just closing the recording. Recording.